Say goodbye to takeout. Hello to HelloFresh. Healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipe, shipped to your door, limited time, $30 off. HelloFresh.com/Colin. So this story came out yesterday, broke on the air, and I think it says a lot, and I think 31 fan bases are going to be very happy to hear this. The New England Patriots are reportedly very high on Lamar Jackson, which would be kind of interesting because I don't know how it worked, but it's interesting. But the bigger story is that it got out. For 18 years, we had no idea who they were remotely interested in. This story got out. Everything now leaks in New England. The Garoppolo trade, we find out that Kraft forced Belichick to do it. Alex Guerrero kicked off the plane. We found out about it. Malcolm Butler didn't play in the Super Bowl. We found out several factors within that story. Gronk and Belichick don't get along. That is now public. Tom Brady and Belichick, 22-page story, multiple sources quoted. And now Lamar Jackson, they're interested in him. Folks, for 15, 18, 19 years, they had a dam. It blocked anything. Nothing left the building. Now it's like our current White House. Everything leaves the building. And to have a leak, you have to have two factions, two sides. And New England was always completely unified. One message, one front, one direction. Not anymore. Tom Brady actively going on Instagram to support Lamar Jackson. I thought he didn't like backups. And support Malcolm Butler. Gronk comes out when Danny Amendola goes to Miami. Congrats, you're finally free. And never forget this moment from Tom's documentary. Players now want their side of the story out.
Challenging for him in so many ways. And I think he just want, he tells me, I love it so much and I just want to go to work and feel appreciated and have fun.
He chose to get that out. It was unified. One message. On point. Assistants not allowed to talk. Everything gets out in New England now. So for the 31 other teams, congratulations. There is no longer a unified one-point, one-message dynasty in the NFL. Doesn't mean they won't win. Doesn't mean Belichick and Brady aren't still a nightmare to face. But it is not the same. To have leaks, you've got to have multiple sides within an organization with different opinions, all wanting their message out. So Russell Westbrook, back-to-back triple-double seasons. It is an accomplishment. I'm not myself a big stat guy, but it is an accomplishment. But I think it should be noted that basketball has changed. The pace now is so brisk. To give you an example, Markelle Fultz, who many think is a bust, became the youngest player ever to get a triple-double last night. He didn't even start, and he played only 25 minutes, and he got one. He broke that long historic record set 4 months ago by Lonzo Ball, who half of you also think is a bust. 24 teams averaged 100-plus possessions this year. You just get the ball more. 24 teams. 28 were close. A decade ago, it was only 5. In fact, that Phoenix Suns team with Steve Nash, Mike D'Antoni, run and gun, shot every 7 seconds, today would be in the bottom third of the NBA in possessions. This is what's happening in football. We pass more than we run. There are no more huddles. 4,000 passing yard seasons are no longer worth bragging about. They're the least you should do as a top quarterback. Joe Montana, with the greatest receiver ever, Jerry Rice, had none. Andy Dalton's had several, Kirk Cousins 3 straight, and even Blake Bortles got one last year. Troy Aikman, one of the great quarterbacks of my lifetime, only hit 3,000 yards 5 times. I can't pop champagne on triple-doubles. Markelle Fultz got one last night. He broke the long-standing rookie record held by Lonzo Ball. And most of you think both are busts. Nicholas Batum had one this year. Elfrid Payton, Jarrett Jack, Greg Monroe, T.J. McConnell. Nothing against the dudes, but if those guys are doing it, it's not blowing me away. So we all know now, it's been established that Westbrook likes stats. And last night, 748 games, he went out to get the most rebounds in his career, so he'd average a triple-double. So in honor of Westbrook, let me congratulate him with my own award. Last night, as the season closed, he has the lowest three-point percentage of any qualifying player, yet still hoisted up 326. So on our show, we'd like to give Westbrook an official Golden Brick Award. In fact, we're going to rename it the Russell Westbrick Award. The worst three-point shooter in the NBA. That stat matters too. Here's veteran newsman John Goulet.
No.
Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
Speaking of Russell Westbrook, Colin, he had 20 rebounds last night against the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
He was a little aggressive on the boards. Not sure if you noticed. Even took a few boards from maybe some teammates of his, as you pointed out.
Yes.
Here was Westbrook after the game on his accomplishments.
Unbelievable, man. The group of guys from last year, this year, the amount of support, everything they've done for me, I don't take it for granted, and try to make their jobs easy as much as possible. They make my job easy as well, and we're going to continue to keep this thing going.
All right.
Colin, you know how drug addicts have enablers?
Yeah.
How much are the teammates just Westbrook's enablers for all this stat
everybody
padding?
understands what's happening. Harden left and Durant left. And it's Oklahoma City, right? It's not L.A., it's not, Miami, a glamorous Chicago, Dallas. And so the organization cannot afford to lose him. But this is why Kevin Durant left. The stories came out afterwards. He would go, Durant, to the front office and the coaches and say, come on now. Like this is getting frustrating. You're babying him. And they have. And this is why you get last night. That you are not allowed. It's a no criticize Westbrook zone the minute you get in to the area code in that town. By the way, the Oklahoma newspaper called Durant Mr. Unreliable, right? Now, they may have apologized, but they were willing to do it. Find me the criticism of Westbrook. Press, team, players, coach, they are petrified because they know he's fragile, they know stats matter, and they're coddling him. So, I'm not denying he's great, and Oklahoma City's going to be in a wildly entertaining first-round playoff series against Utah, which I'll predict at the top of the hour, but there's no getting around it. They're goosing his numbers here. Melo admitted it yesterday.
Saying in the NBA, this has kind of become the annual all the Eastern coaches get fired day in the NBA.
Yeah, I know.
Couple this morning, the Magic fired their head coach Frank Vogel.
Nice
who
guy.
I know you thought I think everyone thought would be very successful there. And did not
I thought
do well.
Frank Vogel was a good coach, and he went to Orlando, and Orlando's been an organization in chaos, and they fire him.
And the Knicks also fired Jeff Hornacek after 2 seasons. Went 60-104 in those 2 seasons.
It should be noted, Steve Kerr got very close to taking the Knicks job. Do you remember that?
Everyone thought he would because of Phil.
Because of Phil Jackson, and Kerr's like, just think about how history would have changed. Steve Kerr was this close to taking the Knicks job. He's like, you know what? I idolize Phil, but I'm going to go to the Warriors, and now Steve Kerr's going to be a Hall of Famer because of that.
And there's a few guys rumored to be interested in the Knicks job or who they're going to go after.
Who?
Speaking of Steve Kerr, the guy he replaced, Mark Jackson, who's a former Knick, New York guy, went to St. John's. David Fizdale is a possibility.
I like David Fizdale.
David Blatt, who went to the finals his 1 full season in the NBA, got canned the next year. And also one name they're reportedly going to go after.
Who?
Your guy, Jay Wright. You think they could land someone like that to come out of college and take the Knicks job?
No. Jay Wright could absolutely coach in the NBA. This is not the job to take. Bad owner, bad front office. Porzingis is great, but he's hurt. Jay Wright could get a legitimate job. Listen, Brad Stevens went from Butler to the Celtics. Jay Wright can go from Villanova, 2 national championships, to, I mean, I'll throw this out there. If Popovich retired tomorrow, who are you giving the job to? I mean, if the Celtics hire a guy from Butler, would an NBA team not consider Jay Wright?
You got a bad owner and not a ton of cap space. I don't know why you
It's a
really
bad job.
want that job.
Yeah, it's a bad job.
Mark Jackson, doesn't that kind of seem like it makes sense?
It does to me.
Fits,
Mark
right?
feels like New York. Listen, Mark Jackson had success in Golden State. It's almost like Del Harris. Del Harris got Baby Shaq and Bay Kobe. They weren't ready to be champions. Phil walked in. They were then men.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same thing. It's like Mark Jackson took over Golden State. They weren't ready to be a dynasty yet. They were babies. Then Kerr comes in, uses a lot of Mark Jackson's defensive principles, and now they were ready to be champions. So, you know, I mean, Del Harris can coach. Mark Jackson can coach. I'm not saying they're Phil Jackson or Kerr, but they can coach.
And finally, the Yankees were in Boston last night, and things got a little out of hand.
What?
So I'm going to admit this. I'm a Yankees homer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that I'm a lifelong Yankees fan, so I want them to win at everything. So even though they did win the game 10-7, they didn't win everything last night. Tyler Austin charged the mound last night against the Red Sox after he got pegged by Joe Kelly.
Wow.
It didn't go well for Tyler Austin. I wish I watched this fight like 10 times, tried to find a way where Tyler Austin didn't lose to a pitcher wearing goggles.
Yeah.
Nope, he got taken down by the pitcher. The guy basically challenged him, come out at me, and he took him down. But I will say, kind of awesome to have these two teams fighting again.
Oh, God, yes.
That rivalry's been so boring for so long that now they're both good, and they seem to really hate each other.
By the way, are they going to demote Giancarlo Stanton to Double-A here in a week? How many strikeouts
He
does
started,
he have?
he kind of broke out of his slump
Oh, he did?
in this series.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a triple last night. He's got a couple of hits. He's starting to not look terrible.
Veteran newsman John Goulet.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line News.
Here's a guy who's been in a couple skirmishes, Steven Jackson. Not baseball skirmishes, but he's been in a few. You've thrown a few elbows, my man. And that's why we love you. By the way, what am I to make of the Sixers? And I said this before. Listen, man, we got 8 teams tanking, Steven.
Right.
We got 8 teams tanking.
Right.
They've mostly beaten tank teams, some twice. I think they're long and athletic. Covington's better than I thought. I thought he was just a guy, pretty good player. Simmons is remarkable. It is the East. What do I make of them?
Well, me personally, I don't know how to tank. If someone can tell me how teams tank, how do you lose on purpose? I have no clue.
They take you out of the lineup. Did you see Memphis' starting lineup? What they do is, Steve,
I understand that now.
Steve, you're like, I should be on the floor. Now, Steve, you just stay there on the bench.
So that's how you tank.
That's how you tank. You keep. There have been players called up from the G League, guys who have marginal injuries, just sit on the bench. Memphis, the last couple of weeks, I sat 9 guys on the team I've never heard of. So that's how you tank.
Wow.
So I'm not knocking the Sixers. I'm just saying, Steve, the history of the NBA is we've never had this many teams tank, and they've won a lot of tank games. Do you think they're a legit team?
I think they're legit for the simple fact that you have 2 guys that's going to be all-stars for the rest of their career on that team. You have a coach who was under Greg Popovich, who's won championships under Greg Popovich, who understands how to play the game and coach the game. He was with me in 03.
And you like him?
I love him. I love Brett Brown.
Why?
He's a great coach. He's one of those guys that you communicate with. I think